Hello, everyone. Welcome to my weekly show of Classroom Without Walls. On this show, I interview leading social media professionals, marketers, business owners, entrepreneurs. They come here and share their best practices, strategies, so that we can future proof our business. And today's episode is episode 114. So we have come a long way. And we're talking about something that is, I think, really relevant to every business. Some automation, a way to generate leads, even when you are sleeping. This is something that I ignored in the beginning, and I'm totally catching up. And we have the one and only Brittany Long to join us today to talk about ClickFunnels. And for those of you, if you are not familiar with ClickFunnels, don't worry. And Brittany is going to explain. And so, just in case you don't know who this amazing lady is, Brittany is used to be a teacher, just like me, a middle school teacher, and now she is a six-figure entrepreneur. She has people working for her. Her business is growing. She look at her, so happy, so vibrant, and pretty much she can work anywhere and anytime she wants. And she is expecting a baby. I don't know if I can say that.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so super excited and super honored to have you here and share with us and teach us funnel building, ClickFunnel, and how we can use that to grow our business, grow our brand, and make more money. So welcome to the show. And by
Thank
the way,
you.
we are live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Periscope, and YouTube. So let me know in the comment section where you are joining me live from. And I just feel so thankful given what is happening right now. You are spending 1 hour with us and to join me live and watch me live. So super, super thankful. And Brittany, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Look, Vicky, congratulations. Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I just want to do you want to add anything to my very brief introduction? You have such an amazing story. I can't wait to unpack your story and your journey. So incredible.
Yeah, it's been a really weird but wonderful 18 months. I left teaching to do this full time, and when I was teaching, I was like, I don't even know if this is really possible for me. At the time, I was like, I don't know what else there is that I can do. That's really what I thought, and it's crazy to me to think now that I was like, I can only be a teacher. That's all I'll ever be. Not to say that teachers aren't incredible, because obviously you are. If you're listening, you're a teacher. But I really thought the only option was teaching. And so I kind of I got into this thing by trying all these different side hustles because I had a cancer scare, and I really thought at the end of the year, like I didn't think I was going to make it past that year, and it was a terrifying experience. And I was like, I don't know if I'm okay with this. In that, I mean, obviously nobody really wants to die, but in the sense that I was like, if this is what I'm doing my last year on earth, is that something I'm okay with?
Wow.
And so I realized it wasn't. I realized that teaching wasn't for me anymore, and that was okay. And so I tried all these different side hustles, and it finally brought me to funnel building. And funnel building has really given me the freedom and flexibility to have the life that I want. My husband and I both work from home now, which is incredible. He was a teacher also.
I know
So,
he teaches
we paid off
history, right?
$50,000 of debt in less than a year, and it was either 6 months or 8 months. I think it was 8 months. And so it's just crazy to think how much can change in such a short amount of time. But yeah, that's the gist of our story. And it's really wonderful to look back on it now and see, just because I started taking action, because I decided this isn't what I want to do, I was able to figure out something else. And once I started even kind of opening my mind, I guess, to what else might be out there, that's really when everything changed.
That is incredible. I know your story, but every time when I hear you talking about your story, now your husband, he's probably like feeling pressure to catch up. And it just makes me feel like everyone can do this. It's so incredible, amazing, amazing. Yeah. And thank you for sharing. That's pretty much my very first question. So, like before, so nowadays you help kind of teachers who are struggling, burnout, broke. And that's kind of my old life myself.
Yep.
And so you are helping teachers kind of transition out of teaching. That is your calling. But before you discovered this calling, you did a few side hustles, as you mentioned. I wonder if you can share some of the side hustles with us and how did you make it work? Because some people in my live audience, they still have their job and right now they're working on their side hustle. So how did you make it work and how long did it take for you to eventually see some cash flow? You're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to pursue this full time. So share that with us. And by the way, everyone, my dear friend Peter Septon, based in UK, amazing marketer himself, is monitoring everyone's comments and questions. If you have any question, feel free to tag Peter. And thank you so much, Peter.
Awesome. Well, to answer your question, so I tried, I think pretty much any side hustle you can think of, I tried it. And I started with an MLM because I really thought that was my only option was to do direct selling for somebody else, for somebody else's company. And so I felt like in order to make money, I had to sell for somebody else. And I am not that great at selling, which is why I love funnels because it's on autopilot and I don't have to,
I think,
I'm so
sorry to
awkward.
interrupt you. I feel like as teachers, we all have that problem. That was my biggest problem. I think to this day, I'm still working on that because teaching is a service industry. You don't talk about money at all. So sorry, I have to.
No, I totally agree. Yep, absolutely. And so I really struggled with that. It was not the thing for me. I know for some people it works. For me, it definitely didn't. And so I started with an MLM, but I'm really thankful that I did because they really pushed personal development. And so that's when I started reading personal development books like The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And it completely changed my life
I love that.
because for the first time in my life, I was like, wait a minute. I can take responsibility for the outcome. I can take responsibility for where my life is. And before then, I was like, well, I'm the victim. It just happens. Like my life is just an accumulation of my family and, what I've always done and stuff like that. And I was like, I've always been, we were kind of broke growing up and stuff. And my family worked really hard, but I was like, this is just how it is. And so reading that book changed everything for me because for the first time I realized that doesn't have to be how it is forever. And so anyway, I started doing that. And that didn't go on very long. I think only 6 months. And I remember the first time I made like $32 on it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Sorry, my thing cut out for a second. I didn't know if you were saying something. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, no. Okay. Good. I just shared the screen of the book, The Compound Effect, because I love that book. So I just did a screen share. So keep talking. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Anyway. So it was such a good book and it really changed things for me. And so I think I remember my first like $32 on that MLM and being like, wait a minute, $32. Like that was huge for me. I thought if I can make $32, I can do anything. and now it's funny to me because $32 is like a drop in the bucket. And like we've had months that are upwards of $30,000, like a month. And that's crazy to me because that's what I made teaching an entire year. And so, but anyway, I started there, and then from there I was like, okay, this is definitely not for me. And then I tried, I did personal training for a little while. I did, I know, like so random, right? I did personal training. I did an Etsy shop, and I liked that. And we made a little bit of money from that. I think we made about $2,000, $3,000, which wasn't terrible, but the amount of time I was putting into it, like it just wasn't scalable. And I was really struggling with perfectionism. And so like I'd make this beautiful hand painted sign. I'd get to the end and then I'd see something teeny tiny that was off. And then I'd try to fix it and then I'd ruin it. And then I'd have to do it all over again. And I just realized, okay, I like creating stuff, but I don't like creating this. And so I had to kind of figure out what worked for me and what didn't work for me and go from there. But that's really where I started at. And so then from there, I tried graphic design. And then that's the next step for me was really funnel building, copywriting, email marketing.
Wow, that's so incredible. So how long did that last? Like a few months? So how long were you working on your side hustle? Like how did it work? Because teaching is pretty exhausting. I'm not sure about you. By the time I finish a day of teaching, I come back home, I don't want to do anything, so tired of talking. I don't want to talk to any human beings. So how did you work for you?
So I did photography also. I forgot to say that too. I did photography. I know the MLM that I did. All of those were really over a span of a few years, and I didn't really make much headway with them. And so it was more of something I did on the side and just kind of made excuses for, and never really like went all in. But then when I got to the graphic design, that was the point where I had found out that I had cancer, or they told me I had cancer. They were wrong, which is still incredible to me that like what, yeah. But they were wrong. So I found out, and then that was 2 years later where I really was like fed up with it, or I guess a year and a half later, because I started my side hustle with like graphic design and all of that and funnel building. And then it took me 6 months to replace my teaching income. That's not that long. That's really not that long. And so it was tiring for sure. Like you said, I would come home at the end of the day and I would be exhausted, and I just wanted to wrap myself like a burrito and lay on the couch and watch Netflix. But I also knew I wanted more than that. And so because I wanted more than that, I was like, I have to figure something else out. And so every day I would come home from teaching, and then I would take like an hour off or so. And then I would work on my side hustle, sometimes from like 7 to 11, sometimes from 7 to 1 to 2 a.m. And I was tired. I was tired, but I knew there had to be a different way, a better way. And so that's why I kept doing it, even though I was exhausted. And for me too, I knew there was an end date. I was like, by this date, I'm going to be done teaching. And so because there was only that 6 months, it wasn't like I'm going to feel this way forever. I'm going to be tired forever. It was, I'm going to be tired for the next 6 months, but if I can handle that, I can handle anything, and it's going to give me a way out.
Oh, I can so relate. That's pretty much my story, working on the side hustle, because you want to kind of validate your idea, which is something I recommend everyone doing. If you are having a full-time job, really validate your idea to see if there's actually a market for this that you are so passionate about. So that is incredible. By the way, we have so many people joining us live today on on Periscope, which is really interesting. Just want to
Awesome.
say hi to everyone. Yeah. So let's dive into ClickFunnel, which is something that you really, really love.
Yes.
I think based on our conversation prior to the interview, you shared with me and how much ClickFunnel made a difference in your life, in your
Mhm.
business. And believe it or not, I think beginning of this year, February, I don't know which part of it, maybe like some influence from you. I really started to play with a ClickFunnel. I used ClickFunnel to actually redesign my website. I also used
Awesome.
ClickFunnel to create a landing page for my own Life Accelerator program. And you know what I told myself? Wow, I wish I started earlier on this. And so amazing. So share with us, for those people who are not familiar with like funnel building, click funnel, what are we talking about here right now?
That's a great question. And something that people always ask me anytime I could talk about funnel building, they're like, what in the world is that? And so when you see a website, it's a lot of times it has a lot of pathways for you, a lot of things you can do. And as a business owner, you don't usually get a lot of conversions on there. You don't make a lot of sales. You don't get a lot of opt-ins because there's so much for the customer to look at. And so they see something, they click on something, they get distracted, they go to Amazon, they buy something, like, and then they leave, what they're looking at with you. And so what a funnel does is it basically that's so funny. What a funnel does is it basically keeps the customer's attention because it focuses on just one thing. So there's just one purpose. So if it's an opt-in funnel, the purpose is to help them be like, yes, I want to subscribe to this. If it's a sales funnel, the purpose is to help them see if what you're offering is a good fit for them or not. And so it just has one focus. Instead of all these other things they can look at, there's one focus, one thing for them to click on, which is the button for them to either check out or to subscribe.
All right, I love that, which is very, very true. Like after I get to know ClickFunnels a little bit myself, I was like, wow, when I think about a website, it is almost like a library. You go to the library, you check out a few books here and there, but you don't really have the intention to purchase anything. But when you go to ClickFunnels, it is very different. It's very clear, very clean, and you just kind of follow a funnel and then get to the end point. So speaking of which, Russell Brunson, he's kind of the godfather
Mhm.
of like ClickFunnels, and he even made an argument saying that website is dying. And I watched their video. They're like, ClickFunnels are the future. So
Mhm.
I want to know, what do you think about that? Do you think it is true? Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
So I mostly agree. Like you said, a website is more like a library. So I do think there's a place for a website, and that's to, disseminate that information, like a blog or something like that. But as far as actually making conversions, actually selling, which I think a lot of times people think that's the purpose of their website, right? Is to sell or to get subscribers. But really, a website doesn't do that great of a job of that. A funnel does a lot better at that because it has that one focus. And so in that sense, if you're wanting to get subscribers, if you're wanting to make sales, then absolutely, I think that a website is dead in that sense.
Oh wow. So do you still have a website, or like how do you differentiate how you are using your website and how you are using ClickFunnel?
So we do have a website for Life After Teaching, which is where we help teachers kind of figure out what they want to do next. We do have a website for that, but it's mostly just a blog, and then it kind of helps them figure out what resources would be most useful for them. But for Learn to Build Funnels, which is our funnel course, we don't have a website for that at all. And honestly, whenever I build funnels for people as a freelancer, I don't send them a website. I just send them previous work I've done and the portfolio, because that's really what they care about is, can you get me the results? And I can. And so I just show them that. And it's just so much better, in my opinion, than a website. It's so much better, so much easier to maintain. And it really shows them what they actually want to know, because they don't care like that I'm a wife and then I have 2 dogs. Like nobody really cares that much about that. What they really want to know is, can you get me the results? And have you gotten results for other people already? Like, can I trust you? That kind of thing. And so a funnel, it's really easy to show those examples.
Totally. So can you give us some like numbers, some examples of how those funnels have helped you and some of the clients that you have built a funnel for?
Sure. Yeah. So we've increased, for us personally, with the Life After Teaching, we've increased our subscribers by about 1,500 in just over about a month and a half, which
Oh
is
my
pretty
God.
crazy for a small for a small company. That's pretty crazy. And then for the companies that I've done work for, so I've worked for or done freelance funnel building for companies that are just starting out, like small businesses, all the way up to companies that are making multiple millions. And it's really cool to see how the opt-in funnels have increased their leads so much. And when they have a great product that sells, if you have the leads coming in, it's easy to make the sale. And so we've seen their subscribers increase significantly, but we've also seen their sales increase too. And so some of the funnels I've been able to work on are literally multiple $1 million grossing funnels. And they make it once and then you just tweak it from there, which is crazy to me. Like you don't have to keep, like with a website, right? You keep adding blog posts, you keep adding stuff. But with a funnel, you figure out what works, you keep it going, and then that's it. It can go for years and years and years without more tweaks, as long as you make those tweaks on the front end.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I have been listening to some of, One Funnel Away. They did a 30-day interview. So listening to some of the really incredible stories, even people like selling like cupcakes, they have a funnel, they are attaching like PDFs to create really amazing offers to make you feel like, oh, I'm not just buying like a cupcake maker or something, but there's this PDF, there's this and that. Really, really, really fascinating, and so good to hear the numbers in terms of conversion, everything. Amazing. So I want to ask the live audience, are you guys familiar with ClickFunnels? Have you actually used one? So I want to see how popular this is. Like for me, I'm really a late adopter on this. I really didn't start until this year. So how, like for others who are like, oh, Brittany, this is amazing. We want to give this a try. So what are some specific steps that you recommend that people can follow and learn more about this and build their own funnel?
So the first thing we like to call it a funnel flow map. It kind of helps you plan out your funnel, because if you don't have a plan for it, it's like it'll take you a lot longer. So we suggest doing a funnel flow map for the beginning. And the first thing is to think about is your purpose. So what do I want to get out of this funnel? What's the purpose of it? And usually it's going to be either to make a sale, and that could be with a webinar funnel, sales funnel, membership funnel, but it's either to make a sale or to make a subscription, or what's it called? Subscriber to gain a new subscriber. And so once you know what the purpose is, you'll know what kind of funnel to make. That's the first part. The next part is knowing your audience, and that sometimes requires some research. And so knowing your audience means knowing how they talk, knowing what their struggles are. One of the companies I work for right now, we're seeing a lot of people using the word desperate, like they're desperate to do this, desperate to do that. And so that's some of the language that we use, because we really want to reach them. It's like if you go to the doctor's office and they're like, oh, well, you need the whatchamacallit and the who's, like all these technical terms, and you've never been to medical school, you're like, I don't know what's happening, and you're going to zone out. And so you really want to know how your audience speaks so that you can reach them on their level. And this is definitely something I took from teaching too, is that you need, like in teaching, I would talk about Minecraft, or I would talk about Call of Duty or something like that, because a lot of my students played that. And so it's just reaching people where they are. So knowing your audience, researching them, using their language is going to be really useful for you in the copy of your funnel. Something else is having one call to action. So basically on your funnel, instead of being like, oh, you need to do this, and then you need to do this, or telling them different things to do, a confused customer doesn't buy, and a confused customer or potential customer doesn't subscribe. And so if you have conflicting information, or if you have multiple things that they're supposed to do, they're not going to do any of them. And so you want one call to action. You can do the button multiple times, but you want the same copy on the button, the same call to action on each button, so that it's really, really clear for them what to do. But those are really the main things. And then something else, especially if you're doing a sales page, is you want to talk about the benefits and the features. One problem that a lot of people make, or one I guess common issue that we see a lot, is that people will talk about the features. So in other words, what the product is, what's in the product, but they won't talk about the benefits. They won't talk about how it's going to actually help the customer. Because at the end of the day, the customer is like, I don't really care if it's this and this and this, or if it's pretty or whatever. What they care about is, how is this going to help me reach my goal, whatever that goal is. And so it'd be like if you have a workout program and you're like, oh, it has 5 modules in it. Nobody cares about that. But if you're like, oh, it's going to help you lose 10 pounds in 10 days or whatever, that's really what people care about, is the benefits. And so focusing on the benefits, and just making a really clear, really, really easy yes for them. And then with that, we also go above and beyond. And that kind of comes down to the offer as well, not just the funnel, but the offer as well, is going above and beyond, so that when they finish reading everything that you're offering, all the benefits, they're like, oh, it'd be stupid of me not to do this offer, not to subscribe to this. And so those are some of the things that we always look for in funnels, no matter what kind of funnel it is making it really clear, speaking to the audience, having one call to action, and talking about the benefits.
Oh, I love this. So many great tips. I see that quite a few people mentioned that they have never heard of or used ClickFunnels. I hope this is really useful. I love, you mentioned so many great points. I want to go back to talk about like features versus benefits. I think that is a mistake that many people tend to make, and including myself. So when I was selling my program last year, so I did exactly that. I was selling the features. Hey, you have all those courses, you have all those speakers, you have access to LinkedIn Learning, Microsoft, this certification, that certification. I didn't even mention some of the transformations, the outcomes. Why do I give them this? What happens as a result of having that? So I really love that point. And I was looking at some of the ClickFunnels templates, and they have kind of a section ask you to mention your feature and specifically benefits. So that's really, really cool, really powerful. What are some like mistakes that you made as you were, I don't know, how many have you built so far, ClickFunnels?
I've built hundreds at this point. I've built well over 100. So, and I like doing it. So sometimes I just do it for fun, which sounds super nerdy, but I don't even care. I love it. So, let's see. So I've built hundreds. Some of the mistakes that I've made personally is in my copy, and copy, for those of you that don't know, it would just be the words that you have on the page. But some of the mistakes I made is, like you said, I would talk about the features, but not the benefits, or it would be clear to me, but I wasn't saying it in a way that made sense to other people. And so I would be talking about it at one level, and they'd be just starting out, so they weren't quite understanding it. It's like one of those things where if you've done something for a while, and you try to explain to somebody else, sometimes that you're like, this totally makes sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to them. Like the peanut butter and jelly method. Have you heard of that?
No, what is that?
So basically, like, you tell someone how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and the first time you do it, you're like, okay, take the knife out, put it in there, put it on the bread, and then if someone actually does it, like following the directions, only the directions that you've done, they're gonna have like a knife with peanut butter on it, just on a piece of bread, and they're like, that's it, that's what you told me to do. And so going through something with the peanut butter and jelly method, and then having somebody do it, so obviously not telling them to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but telling them step by step exactly what they need to do, and making it so simple that if somebody who has never done it before, or like somebody that's 5 years old, could just follow the instructions and do it, it's going to be a lot better. And so kind of thinking through that before you write your copy or before you write your course, whatever it is really useful. But that was one of the mistakes I made, is just not making things clear, and then not sharing the benefits. I used to also use fonts. This is a little embarrassing, but I used to use fonts that I was like, these are so pretty. And they're beautiful, yeah. They're beautiful cursive fonts, right? But they were kind of hard to read. And so you have to think of it not just from like a this is pretty standpoint, but from a how is this going to help the customer standpoint. And if it doesn't help them in the sense that they can't read it, like that's a problem. And so just making it really, really simple, really clear. I think one of the best things to do is just to keep it simple. And it's something that a lot of people miss out on. So that's one of the mistakes I made for sure, is not keeping it simple.
Totally. I can really relate with you on so many things. And I love this, what Peter mentioned, copy is so underrated. I agree, especially for us, coming from the academic background, I really have to unlearn how to write for social media, because it is so different. We don't talk about this person. We use word I. You feel like comfortable, right? But in academia, we don't really do that. And I love that. And use even like choosing fonts. Like for me, I do the same thing. I choose things that I feel like, oh, so pretty. Even my logo, look, it's red color. It's my favorite color. That's why I choose this color. But if I do more research, actually in education, they like orange kind of symbolize creativity. I was like, and that's such a great point. We always have to think from our audience perspective. So I really love that. Like, really great points. And you mentioned earlier, there are so many different types of funnels. And when I was just like kind of introduced to this myself, there's like for webinar, for opt-in, for lead generation, this and that. There are so many. So again, for people who are new to this, how do we decide which one to use? Which one works best for my case? And so how do you make that decision? What is the decision-making process look like?
So the first thing I start with is, what is the purpose of the funnel? And so if the purpose of the funnel is to get more subscribers, then usually what I'm going to do is an opt-in funnel of some kind. And so I focus on the opt-in funnel, which those are usually pretty simple because the customer doesn't have to take out their credit card or anything like that. So there's no real risk involved. They're just giving you their name and email address in exchange for something you're giving them, some kind of lead magnet, which is like an ebook. It can be a mini course. It can be an email sequence or something like that, but just something that's going to help them. And so if it's subscribers, it's usually an opt-in funnel. If it is making sales, then it could be just a sales funnel or video sales funnel. If you're great on video, I would say go with a video sales funnel. Those are great. They usually convert really well. If you're not great on video, that's okay. Don't do a video one. That's totally fine. But then the next thing to look at, you mentioned webinar funnel. So then there's a webinar funnel or auto webinar funnel. Webinar funnel would be a live webinar. Auto webinar funnel would be an automated one. And for me personally, I love doing the automated webinar funnel because that's the one that you can set up and tweak. Like you start with a live webinar, you tweak it, you get really good at it, and then you turn it into an auto webinar. And that's the one that you can really sell on autopilot, run ads to, and it's something that you can have up for years and years and years, making money while you sleep, which is ideal, right?
Yeah, totally. Now, like, I wonder if I can do a quick share of my funnel. Maybe you can take a quick look.
Yeah,
I wonder if I have actually too much information on this. I was just thinking about what you mentioned earlier, simplify to amplify, keep it simpler. So, like, you talk about like videos. Hold on, let me. So I can put myself out there. You guys don't judge me. This is my very first funnel. Oh, actually, this is a website I created using Clickfunnels.
Nice.
Kind of look like it is so much easier. I used to use a Squarespace. I like this so much easier. But anyway, so this is the landing page for my program, and I kind of have, this is kind of my wide video. So like this is the video series, and then like a 4-part training. People can watch training 1, training 2, training 3, training 4. So after each training, there's a call to action, and then eventually book me for a call. I don't know if there's like too much information here, and this is what we were talking about earlier, like talking about benefits, not just features. Yeah. So that's the mistake I made, and just lots of testimonial. Do you think this is like too much?
Yes, and a short answer, yes. Let's go back up to the top for a second.
Oh.
So first of all, I like it. It looks great. But I think if you minimize some of the things that you have, it's going to help a lot. So if you can go all the way up The first thing that I'm seeing is that you have a lot of different colors on here. Like I see this mint color, there's the blue in the video, the red, the yellow, the white. So one thing that I'd suggest doing is minimizing some of the different colors that you have and just really honing in on your branding board. Because right now it's a little bit hodgepodgey. And so if you can make it a little bit more cohesive with that, I think that's going to flow better too. And it's going to be less distracting for the people watching or looking. Reading it, whatever.
Totally. I mean, like so far for me, the fonts, I just choose them randomly. I don't really think much about it. Yeah, I agree.
So something with the fonts too is that you see how like this one, the help their children become future ready, it has those little feet at the bottom and the top.
Yes.
Generally speaking, for doing web, you don't want to have those kind of fonts. You want to have like like this one down here that has you and your children are invited, a font like that, because it's easier to read on the computer. Yeah. And so print is great with the little feet at the bottom, but if it's on the computer, if it's on your phone, you want something that doesn't have the feet at the bottom because it's harder for people to read. Something else that I would suggest is really honing in on your copy and kind of minimizing a little bit because most people aren't going to read all of that. And so they're missing out on some really valuable information. And so if you can minimize what you have just so that it's a few sentences that are really packed and a little bit shorter, you're going to get a lot more conversions with that.
Oh, I love it. So share with actually, I see people are asking some questions. I'm going to answer you in a second. So like so you mentioned you have some funnels. Do you mind sharing with us so we can take a look at some of your personal, really favorite? You think they are doing a great job? You think we should check it out?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I share on my computer or do
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. I'm actually not sure how to do that. So I may have you type it in. I'll put it in the link if that's okay, or in the chat.
Yeah, send me the link. I can yeah.
Okay. Start.learntobuildfunnels.com is one that you guys can go to if you want to see that. Sorry, start.learntobuildfunnels.com. That one we were just making some changes on, so don't look at that one. /. Flow map. Look at that one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
let me do share the screen. I hope this is really helpful, everyone. I'm really learning a lot from Brittany. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
So this is
not that one. That one we're making a ton of updates on. So that one's like a hot mess right now. But if you go start.learntobuildfunnels.com/flow map.
Okay. Hold on.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that one. Don't look at that one.
That's the one you just sent to me.
I know. After I said that, I realized that was the right one. That's
so. What is it?
Flow map. FLOWMAP. Yep.
Oh, much better.
Yep. So you'll see this one has. It doesn't have a lot of information on it. It has what the benefit is, which is they can increase their subscribers and profits with the funnel flow map for opt-ins. It tells them how quickly they can do it in 10 minutes, which one of the not issues, but one of the objections that people have sometimes is they think, oh my gosh, funnels are going to take so long, and they don't have to. And so that's why we included the 10 minutes part. And then down here, the free funnel flow map, it says who it's for and what it does. Again, not earning money on autopilot is that benefit. And then without wasting time and money, because that is one of the objections is, what if I'm wasting time? What if it takes so long? What if it takes a lot of money? And so we show them how to do it without wasting time and money. And then click here to get access to the funnel flow map. Pretty easy, pretty clear there. That's something else with the button is that you just want to make it super, super, super clear so that there's no question about what to do. They know exactly what to do.
Oh, wow. So simple. So much like simpler compared to the one I just shared, right? That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And so this is an opt-in funnel. So we're getting subscribers with this one. So this is for people that want to learn how to build funnels, specifically opt-in funnels without wasting time. This is the one for that. And so like you said, there's not a lot of information. It's pretty straightforward. And it's because there's nobody has to take out a credit card or anything like that. There's no risk for them. It's literally, they just are putting in their name and email address. And so that's why it's so simple.
Yeah. And you don't really worry about like people maybe want to check out your website. You just rely on that. Yep. And I love that. So great. So here's a question from Peter. And he asked, are there certain keywords that you think we should use or the number of times that you should be saying those keywords? I guess in your copy, he's probably referring to the copy part you were talking about earlier.
Great question. I think for the keywords, it just depends on who your audience is and what they care about. For example, when I work with teachers, I don't say something like, you have all the time in the world or you have all the money in the world. Like that's not an issue for you because it is. It's an issue for them. So you have to know your audience. And so as far as the copy goes, it really depends on what your audience is saying. And so I'd suggest doing a survey or talking to people that are in your ideal audience and just asking them to explain, what are some of the problems you're facing right now? And then once what's ideal is if you can do a survey like on Google Forms or something like that, because then you can actually see from their own words what are their problems, and you'll notice that there's going to be some of those keywords. So I would say do a survey, because then it lets really them do the speaking, and then you just get to use their words so that you can be as impactful as possible with them.
Yeah, I love that. Survey your audience, again, goes back to when we are so excited about our idea, the fonts, the color, we don't even know if that is what our audience wants. And I actually learn a lot if I'm talking to my ideal audience. I was like, wow, you actually think that way? That is so interesting. I would never ever think that way. But you have to give them what they want, especially in terms of keywords. So I love that. Great tip. And so here's a question, and thank you for joining us live, Lucille. And she asked, how is a ClickFunnels different from a landing page? Are they similar? And you joined us a little bit late, Lucille. I don't know if you catch the part where Brittany mentioned the difference between website and ClickFunnels, so you can kind of check that part out earlier. So explain to us, Brittany, what's the difference between, if there's any, ClickFunnels and landing page?
Great question. So before I hop into that, you said give them what they want, and I really love that you said that, because when I first started, that was a mistake I made. Is I was like, oh, people need mindset work. That's what they need. Nobody wants to work on their mindset. Like nobody wants to work on that. And so I noticed that a lot of people weren't getting that product, and even though they needed it, like we all need mindset work in my opinion.
Like, but nobody will feel like we have time. Like once I make six figure, I can work on that.
Right. And really, to get to six figures, like you need to work on that. And so
100%.
But it wasn't what they wanted. It was what they need, or it's what they needed, but not what they wanted. And so sometimes you have to give people what they want first before you can give them what they need. That was something that really stuck out to me. And then to answer your question, how is ClickFunnels different than a landing page? So you can build a landing page on ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is like a builder for the funnel. And it's like the software that you use to build the funnel. And then the landing page is like a type of funnel. So if you want somebody to land there and you want to get their name and email address in exchange for something you're giving them, then you're basically building a landing page around that on ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels is like the software or the program that you can use to build it.
Yeah, I mean, like Lucille, like I don't think I'm a tech savvy person, but ClickFunnels is so like it's like ABC, like so easy to use. I think that weekend I got sick. I was like, what to do when I'm sick? As a nerdy person, I was like, oh, why don't I check out ClickFunnels? I literally built that over the weekend. It was so easy to use.
That's awesome. Sorry, my thing clicked.
Oh, no worries. Huh? We just lost her. This is so incredible. And as I mentioned earlier, let me just do some talking, and hopefully she will be back.
Hey, sorry about that.
I lost you.
My computer almost fell, and then everything like went away.
Oh, that's so incredible. I thank you. So besides ClickFunnels, and I know there are quite a few. Like I actually did a little bit research. So ClickFunnels is one of the many tools that you can use to build a funnel. So do you recommend ClickFunnels? Are there any other tools that we can use to build a funnel?
Yeah, there's so many options. So if you are just looking for an opt-in funnel and you're just starting out, maybe you have an email list with MailChimp or Aweber or ConvertKit, you can even build a landing page on there. That's what I would start with if you just need a landing page, or if you just need an opt-in funnel. That's what I would start with, because it's gonna be a lot cheaper for you. And usually they have templates, you can just whip it up. If you are looking for a sales page, webinar funnel, membership funnel, any of that, then either ClickFunnels or Kajabi are both really great for that. I like both of them for different reasons. Another option for opt-ins is lead pages, and that one I think is $30 a month, 30 or 45, but it's pretty manageable. And so those are the ones that I use most frequently. Those are the ones I like most frequently, or I like the most. You can even build funnels on websites as well using Elementor or Digby or Thrive. But it's a little bit more difficult in my opinion. It's definitely way easier on ClickFunnels. But yeah, any of those are really great.
So do you actually create a funnel for every single like event or product or webinar you are launching? So like, because you do quite a few things, right? And so do you create kind of a separate one for each of the things you are doing?
I do, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And I mean, it's great because once I've created it, it's on autopilot. I don't have to, keep updating it or anything like that. So it's great.
That is so true. I'm really having a taste of that. I was like, wow, I
Mhm.
wish I got started early on this. Yeah,
Right.
that's great. So with I don't know which plan you use. I just want to share with people. So for me, ClickFunnel, I use the one which is $97 a month. Are you using that one or the higher?
I started with the $97 a month one, and then I went to the $297 a month once I started adding affiliates in. So now that we add in affiliates and we reach people through our affiliates, we do the $297 a month. The other great thing with that is that you can add PayPal as an option too. So if you want to do PayPal and Stripe or PayPal and a credit card processor, you can do both with the $297. But I don't think it's necessary until you get to that point where you're either doing affiliates or you're doing PayPal as well.
Totally. And their affiliate is very generous, right? Do they give
Mhm.
like 30% or something or?
I think so, but for us, like we actually have an affiliate program for our stuff too, where if you wanted to promote our product, then we give you between 35 and 45% of the profit. And so, because we have people that promote on our behalf, we
Totally.
needed something that could handle that.
I really I see that as the future. People
Yeah.
who I think that's how you scale, how you grow. I think that's something like Russell Brunson. He's so good at. He has all
Mhm.
those like ambassadors talking about him at the same time. They're also generating profit for their own efforts. So I really love that. And so what are like you I remember like I listened to. I want to kind of transition our topic a
Mhm.
little bit, and I listened to one of your recent podcast interviews,
Mhm.
and in that interview, you mentioned something really caught my attention. You said that you were making more money from answering people's questions in Facebook groups
Mhm.
than how much you were making as a teacher. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that is so interesting. So share with us how you are using Facebook group to do that, and what are those Facebook groups that you were talking about? Because I recently had a similar discussion with people in my group, and it
Mhm.
seems like not many people are really into Facebook groups
Mhm.
nowadays, like including myself. I am a part of 200 plus Facebook groups, not active, just like I don't know how I
Yeah.
got into those. So it's so cluttered, I don't even like check it that much. So share with us how you use Facebook group to generate income.
So right now, I actually don't use it as much now because I have so many people that just refer me that I just go with that. But when I first started out, especially, I didn't have that referral network yet where people were referring me. And so now I've gone above and beyond for enough people, or for so many people that are like, yes, of course, I know somebody that you can help. And it's super easy to get those referrals. But when I was first starting out and I was really unknown and nobody knew me and I was just beginning, what I would do is I'd go into Facebook groups, like the Women Helping Women Entrepreneur one. That's one that I was in a lot. Blogging Like We Mean It was another one that I was in a lot. And I'd go into those group, Work at Home Heroes. That's another one. Sorry, I just thought of it. But I'd go into those groups, and one of the problems people have when they try this technique is they'll go into a group and they'll be like, here's what I have to offer, or check out my website. You know what I mean? And like nobody wants that. So instead of doing that, just go in and look for people asking questions that you know the answer to. And so I would see a question I knew the answer to. Sometimes I would search it in the search area, like I search ClickFunnels, or I search copy, or I search can you help, something like that. And so I'd look for the people that were asking questions that I knew the answer to. And so I would just generously answer the question for them because I know how it feels when you're trying to figure something out and it's not working and it's frustrating. And so I would just answer the question for them. And then so often, like most of the time, they would send me a message and they'd be like, hey, can you do this for me? Can I pay you to do this for me? And so that's how I got a lot of my first clients, is just by answering questions and not promoting myself or anything like that. Like literally just answering the question and saying, happy to help. If you need anything else, just let me know. And they'd message me and then they tell me what they need help with. If I could help them, I'd help them. And that was it. It was really quite easy.
Wow, that's incredible. You just like give, and without really expecting anything in return. And people love it,
Yeah.
especially when you think about it. So many people are trying to, hey, look at me, buy my program, this, and that. When you actually come there and to serve, and yeah, you can
Just
probably
offer
rise
value.
above the noise. Yeah.
Mhm.
So how long did you do that until you have this steady flow of referrals?
So in total, about 6 months until I mean, because I was teaching until then. So I was teaching, coming home, working on all of this, And then it was about 6 months in total that I did this kind of stuff. And then by then I was getting enough referrals that I didn't really need to as much. I mean, every once in a while, if I'm like, yeah, I want to make an extra few thousand this month, I'll do the same thing. But most of the
So
time,
easy, right? Like just like that.
just like that, yeah. Which is crazy because when I was teaching, I would make about $2,100 a month after taxes. And I remember thinking, there's no way I can replace this income. Like, it'd be so hard for me to replace this income. And now I'm like, I want to make an extra 1,200, 2,400, 8,600. I'm like, okay, I'll see who needs help with the sales funnel. And it's just crazy how much is possible for us when we kind of open up ourselves to that. But yeah, it took about 6 months until I really had these referrals in place where now if I want to do some extra, make some extra money, I could just say, hey, do you guys like to somebody that I've done work for before? Hey, if you know somebody that's looking for a funnel, let me know. I'm happy to help, or answering questions in the Facebook group. But yeah, it's mostly referrals now.
Wow, that's so incredible. I love what Lucille mentioned, just give generously, like it's such a great strategy and really
It feels
really
good.
amazing. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. And also, I'm curious, for you coming from that teacher's background, and also your husband now is also a teacher. So coming from that background, I wonder if you can share with us what are some of the skills that can be easily translated into what you are doing now, as this online marketer, entrepreneur, and what are some of the gaps that you have to fill in the gaps, to take classes or hire coaches.
So for the gaps, I'll start there. I needed to learn funnel building. I didn't even know it existed like 19, 20 months ago. I had no idea that funnels were a thing, that they existed. So all of this is really the majority of what I learned was learned in like 6 months. And so, but again, that's crazy because I used to think I don't know anything else. I don't know how to learn anything else. I used to say like, I don't know how a lot. And now I know. I just Google it, or I find a course creator that can help me, or a mentor that can help me. But that was funnel building, copywriting, email marketing. Really, all the things that I'm doing now are skills that I had to learn, I had to build. And then from a teacher's perspective, one of the things that I learned is kind of selling somebody on something. And like I said, I'm not really a great salesperson, but I am great with helping them see the benefits of it. So in my opinion, if you for me as a middle school science teacher, if I could share something about the homework that made them want to do the homework, like if I could share the benefit of the homework in a way that made them want to do homework as a middle schooler who has access to like a PS4 and Minecraft, like if I could make homework appealing to them, I can make anything appealing to anybody. And so that was something
that's a great analogy. Totally.
It was like, if I can make this work, I can make anything work. So, but that was something that I think I really served me from teaching. I think management in general from teaching, like being able to manage multiple things at once, has helped me a lot. And then also being a figure outer, and kind of being flexible, because as a teacher, your day could change by the second, depending on who's in your classroom, what's happening, what the principal sends out in the email that morning. And so being able to kind of think on your feet and think quickly is something that I think a lot of teachers do well, because it's just part of the job, something you have to do. And so that served me well. It's also interesting because my husband, he was a teacher too, but we have very, very different skill sets. And like, he's really great at systems and setting things up. And I'm like, I just couldn't be bothered with it. I love the idea of systems, but like setting them up myself, I'm like, oh, this is taking forever. And so, yeah, I love creating, but the systems, I'm like, that's a hard pass. But he brought that in from some of his previous work and teaching also. And so it's really cool to see that even though we're both teachers, we both bring something very different into the business.
So your husband, this is actually, I want to ask about his journey briefly. So he used to teach history. So what is he doing now? Is he also running his business or helping you, or also have his online empire or something?
Yeah, so we co-own lifeafterteaching.com. And so we both help with that blog. We both help with the funnel part of that. We both help with the management of the Facebook group and stuff like that. Really, we both offer a lot of value to the people that we get to help. And so I really like that we get to do that, because it's something that we both have an expertise in, is leading teaching. And then he has something he's working on also, but then he also helps with the Learn to Build funnels. And so it's really kind of cool because it's all intertwined, but in a really different way. And so it's interesting. We've been married for 10 years almost now, and together for 13. And so this added a whole new component, right? Like I mean, we know each other really well. We've been together for a really long time, but when we started working together, it was like a completely different experience. So it was really cool to kind of get to do that together and experience each other in a different way than we ever have, you know, because we hadn't worked together before. So
Oh,
that was
totally. I mean, like my husband, he doesn't really work for me, but he definitely helps a lot. And you have that, yeah, very interesting dynamic. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah, and we just have such a different perspectives too. And so for him, he comes from a background of like systems and like he used to be a manager at a restaurant and stuff like that. And so he has all those systems, and I have the creation and the marketing. And so it's really cool to see how we work together on that now.
Yeah, that's such an incredible journey. I think, it's just so encouraging for us to hear because you guys, both of you, and including myself, you used to have that fixed salary, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how hard you work or
Mhm.
how lazy you are, you have that much money in your bank account. But
Mhm.
now, as you mentioned earlier, you mentioned I got goosebumps. Like, oh, if I want to make more money, I can just do this, and that, and more money will come. So I
Yeah.
think that is that freedom, that liberation, oh, just like so amazing, right? Give you so much hope. Just feel like, oh, I can actually create this. I'm literally designing my life. Amazing. So share, by the way, everyone, I have been sharing their website in the lower third. So please connect with Brittany on different social media channels and check out their amazing website. So what is something that you are super fired up about right now?
So this is going to sound weird, but I'm really excited about seeing what happens after this pandemic ends. I think that we're going to see the next generation of millionaires and multimillionaires because there are people that are helping. And I mean, there's opportunities everywhere. Sometimes people will be like, everybody's losing their job, everybody's getting laid off, which means there's opportunities everywhere. And for the teacher audience, for example, that we have, I'm like, you guys are in a prime position because there are so many parents that are all of a sudden homeschooling their kids and they're like, I'm home with you all day now. What do we do? Like all day, every day. And teachers are really in a prime position to help in a way that nobody else is. And so there are opportunities everywhere. And so I'm really excited to see the people that decide to not let this crush them, but decide to let this be a turning point for them that completely changes their life and use it as an opportunity and use it as something that's going to move them forward and build that momentum in a way that, I mean, we're all experiencing it and the time is going to pass anyway, right? And so why not see it as an opportunity for you to grow in an unprecedented way than you ever have before?
Amen, sister. Amen. This is exactly what happened to me because I hate to say this, I know many people are suffering, but my business is actually growing because I specialize in distance learning,
Mhm.
using social media to break down like walls, like schools, brands. So
Mhm.
I so agree, crisis and opportunity, they
Yeah,
coexist for sure,
absolutely.
100%. Yeah,
And you're solving
amazing.
a problem. And that's really what it comes down to is solving a problem and offering value. And a lot of times I think people think making money is really difficult, but that's really what it comes down to is can you solve a problem? Can you offer value? That's
Yeah,
and
and
you
it
can do
also
that.
goes
You
back
can
to
find a way.
mindset, right? That people don't want
Mhm.
to work on, but it is such it's a so solid foundation. You have to work on how you think, right? If you
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
you're never going to make money, yeah, duh, the universe is going to meet your expectation. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, it has been such an amazing interview, and I know you're probably exhausted talking like that much for an hour,
I know
and so
I don't talk to people that much anymore other than Zach because like I'm home all day.
so share with us where can people learn more about you, what you do, and like different social media channels. I now have been sharing the website, so share with us where people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so lifeafterteaching.com is great for teachers that want to transition to something else. So if that's you, that's the best place to find us. And you can also find out more about us there. That's like the about area and stuff. That's really, like I said, the only website that we have is that one. And it's really more of a blog than anything else. The other place, especially if you're wanting to learn how to build funnels, we have the one that we shared earlier, start.learntobuildfunnels.com/flow map. That one has information where you can actually download my flow map. It's totally free. You can get it, and that way you can start building an opt-in page without like second guessing yourself and without it taking forever.
Totally. I want to kind of follow up on that a little bit. Anyone, if there's something that I can really add to that, is really to start build a list
Mhm.
and the funnel. It is such a great way to build a list. You don't have to, once you create it, and then you can just like sleep on it. You don't have to do much work. And
Mhm.
I'm really impressed by how easy it is. So like really, I think that's your homework. We now have more time to work on this. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is great. Thank you so much, my dear. You are so amazing. So when's the baby coming out?
June, the first week of June, as of right now. So we'll see. But yeah, we just had another ultrasound, and she's perfect. So it's super exciting.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations,
Thank
Brittany. And
you.
thank you so much again. And thank you so much for joining us live, everyone. And I appreciate you guys. And I hope to see you guys again next Wednesday, same time, same location. And by the way, I have another show on Friday. I will be interviewing a 20-year-old high school $1 million business owner and how he's selling socks to build his business. So really amazing. If you are interested, check that out on Friday. So thank you so much again, Brittany, and thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
again, everyone. Yeah.
Thanks for
Stay
having me.
safe.
Bye.